So good morning everyone. Welcome to the class on investment management, and we'll continue our discussion on the investment management. Probably in the last class I have introduced the concept of diversification. I have told you that whenever you think of doing investment, you should not keep your money in one stock. Better try to diversify your investment, put your money in different stocks. So ultimately what happens if you try to put your money in different stocks, ultimately you try to reduce the risk which is related to a single stock. This form through which you can reduce your risk, this is something which is called as unsystematic risk or concentration risk. So whenever you do investment in the market, and what you do, instead of doing investment of one stock, if you try to bring lot of stocks all together, so thereby what you try to do, you try to reduce your unsystematic risk. There's a risk which is associated with one stock, that is called unsystematic risk, which you can minimize by using diversification. But there is something called systematic risk. There is another form of risk which is called systematic risk, which does not get minimized no matter what you do. So systematic risk or market risk. The other name of systematic risk is market risk. So systematic risk or market risk you can never minimize no matter what form of diversification you follow. So no matter what form of diversification you follow, there is a form of risk which always be there, that is called systematic risk or market risk, or that is also called microeconomic risk. Okay, so the purpose of doing diversification is to make sure that we can reduce our unsystematic risk. So you should not invest, you should not put your money in one stock. Instead of putting your money in one stock, try to create a portfolio of different stocks together. Try to bring different stocks together. The stocks when you choose to make a portfolio, try to choose those stocks. Try to bring those stocks in portfolio. Try to bring those stocks in a portfolio. Those stocks in a portfolio. Okay, try to bring those stocks in a portfolio who have coefficient of correlation between them negative. So the purpose is that whenever you bring different stocks in a portfolio, try to bring those stocks in the portfolio whose coefficient of correlation between them should be negative. Okay, because if you remember, I told you that if you remember, I told you that whenever you talk about the risk on a portfolio, whenever you talk about risk on a portfolio, that formula for that is W1 square into sigma 1 square plus W2 square into sigma 2 square plus 2W1 W2 into covariance between 1 and 2. This formula I have discussed in last class. Whenever you're talking about n stock portfolio, you can have multiple stocks portfolio, but then it become very complicated. So right now I'm not doing that part. I'm just telling you that imagine if you bring two stocks portfolio, and if these two stocks are negatively correlated, so what will happen, as you know that the covariance, as you know that the covariance as you know that the covariance between the stocks, as you know that the covariance, whenever you talk about covariance, the covariance between the stock is equal to coefficient of correlation between stocks into standard deviation of 1 into standard deviation of 2. So imagine if the coefficient of correlation between the two stock is minus negative or minus one, anything, and minus one is ideal case. If that is negative, so what will happen? Your risk on the portfolio will be W1 square into sigma 1 square plus W2 square into sigma 2 square minus W1 W2 into R1 R2 into sigma 1 into sigma 2. Ultimately, you can understand the risk on your portfolio will decrease. This is the purpose, that whenever you are trying to create a portfolio, try to create a portfolio where the risk where the coefficient of correlation between the two stocks is negative. So the idea here is that whenever you are bringing two stocks portfolio, and if the coefficient of correlation is negative, ultimately the risk on the stock. Okay, so the purpose, what you need to understand here is that whenever you bring more than one stocks into picture, when you have bring more than one stocks, then a new form of risk will start along with variance, that is called covariance. Okay, so the risk on individual stock is called variance. So like the risk what you have on an individual stock, that you measure in the term of variance. This is the variance, this is the variance. But when you bring more than one stock into picture, a new form of risk which will come, and this new form of risk which will come, that new form of risk is called covariance. And what this covariance do? This covariance will either increase or decrease the risk on the net portfolio. That covariance value, that will it increase or will it decrease, that depends upon the coefficient of correlation between the two stocks. So because you know the formula of covariance, you know the formula of the covariance, that the covariance between 1 and 2 is equal to coefficient of correlation between 1 and 2 into standard deviation of 1 into standard deviation of 2. So the purpose here is that to bring those stocks into picture whose coefficient of correlation is negative. So ultimately, if we want to create a portfolio, we need to make portfolio in such a way that they should be negatively correlated. That's why you must have heard from many people that whenever you do investment, always try to make sure that certain percentage of money you should put in commodities market like gold or silver or platinum, or maybe in agricultural product. Try to put some money in commodity market, because commodity market, they shows negative correlation with stock and currency market. So that is the ideal perception what you need to follow whenever you talk about portfolio creation, because there's something called unsystematic risk. This unsystematic risk you can minimize by following diversification. Diversification means bringing different stocks in your portfolio. Instead of putting your money in one stock, try to bring different stocks in a portfolio. Thereby, what you're trying to do, you're trying to reduce the total risk on your investment. So thereby, the purpose here is to reduce the total risk on your investment, to bring down the unsystematic risk. So unsystematic risk you can minimize by following diversification, but there is something called systematic risk which you can never minimize no matter what form of investment strategy you follow. So the term which basically measures the systematic risk or market risk is called beta. So the term which basically measures the systematic risk or the market risk, that term is basically, we call that term as a beta. So beta is a factor which measures the systematic risk on a portfolio, considering that the portfolio is well diversified. Where, if you remember yesterday, I discussed the formula called CAPM model. So according to the CAPM model, the return what you get on a stock, so the effective return on a stock is equal to RF plus beta into RM minus RF. So this is the formula. This is called CAPM model. This is called CAPM model, capital asset pricing model. So the CAPM model basically talks about the risk what you have on your portfolio. Okay, so this is the ideal strategy of what you can do, which you can follow whenever you work on portfolio creation. Anyone, any question? Any question you want to ask? Anyone want to ask any question? Anyone want to ask any question? Whenever any company have done the IPO, whenever any company has done the IPO, uh, if any company has done the IPO, means they have raised money from the public. So because they have raised money from the public, it means that they have to put themselves over the stock exchanges, because the ownership what the public got, that ownership have the infinite life. So the public can demand that ownership anytime in the future, or if the public they want, they can buy more ownership of the company. So that medium which provide that facility, that is called exchange. So we have Bombay Stock Exchange, we have National Stock Exchange, where millions of companies are trading. Okay, these companies, we can divide them on the basis of their market capitalization, or we can divide these companies on the basis of their business model. So based upon the business model, a company can belong to IT sector or pharma or banking or FMCG or cement or media or oil and gas. So there are different sectors are there which a company can belong. Then based upon the market capitalization of a company can be large cap company, it can be mid cap company, or it can be small cap company. Large cap companies are those companies whose market capitalization is very high, while the mid cap is somewhat which is between the large cap and small cap. While the small cap companies are those companies which are risky companies to invest. They are high beta stocks. If you invest your money in small cap companies, small cap means small market capitalization companies. So there is a possibility that you get more return, but you need to take more risk also, because the lot small cap companies are subjected to lot of speculation. Okay, so for them to go for investment in small cap, if you want, we can do, but provided that we should have lot of knowledge about that company. If you have proper knowledge about the stock, then only prefer to do investment in small cap companies. So altogether, when you see the market, when you see the market is all about the billions of companies which are trading over the Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchanges, who all have done the IPO in the past. Now they're trading over the stock exchanges. When we see these companies, trading over the stock exchanges, we represent the macroeconomically, we represent them in the form of market. So I can say the market return. You can see that microeconomically I can represent them in the form of market. So this is called RM. RM means market return. RM means market return. So what is basically market here? So market here is basically Nifty or Sensex. The market is basically Nifty or Sensex. So we believe that whatever forms of portfolio diversification you create, whatever forms of portfolio diversification, whatever you can create, but you can never able to beat the market, because the return what you get, your return cannot be more than the return what the market can give. So this is what which was proposed by Eugene Fema in her efficient market hypothesis. So there was an economist called Eugene Fema. There's an economist called Eugene Fema. He has proposed something called efficient market hypothesis. He has proposed something called efficient market hypothesis. So as per the efficient market hypothesis, which was proposed by Eugene Fema, the return what the market offers you, that is the best return what we can get. Okay, so no matter what form of portfolio you create, you can never able to beat the market. So as per the Eugene Fema who proposed efficient market hypothesis, we can divide the market into three head. A strong form, we can divide the market into three head. Strong form, semi-strong form, strong form, semi-strong form, or weak form. Based upon the efficient market hypothesis proposed by Eugene Fema, based by Eugene Fema, she talked about the market. She talked about something called efficient market hypothesis. So as per the efficient market hypothesis, no matter what you do, but you can never able to beat the market. Okay, so this question number one, what you can see here, the question number one, what you can see here is question 6A. Mention the three different levels of market efficiency. If you see the question number 16A, mention the three different levels of market efficiency. Market the three different levels of market efficiency. So this is basically the three levels of market efficiency is what they are. Three levels are strong form, a semi-strong form, or weak form. These are the three levels of market efficiency. For theory question, you can study this and you get a more knowledge about what is strong form of efficient market hypothesis, what is semi-strong form of efficient market hypothesis, or what is a weak form of efficient market hypothesis. If we read about them, we'll get a complete knowledge about the model which was proposed by Eugene Fema in her efficient market hypothesis model. Okay, so in a strong form, we believe that the all form of information, either it's a public or private, or it is whichever is relevant for the stock, it is available for the public to understand, and public by reading it or by going through it can get the knowledge, complete knowledge about the market. So that is called a strong form, while in semi strong form and weak form, we believe that either public information is not working properly or either the private information is not working properly. So we live in the information asymmetry. So we live in the information, not asymmetry, we live in the world of information symmetry. So where any event in any part of the world is going to affect the market. So more there's a more an exposure, so the more would be the impact what we can understand from the market hypothesis model. Here we need to understand the fact that whenever we talk about the market efficiency model, we believe that no matter what form of portfolio creation we can work on, but we can never able to beat the market. This is what the Eugene Fema has discussed in her efficient market hypothesis, that the return what the market gives you, that would be the best return. Okay, so the return what the market is going to give you, that will be your best return. Okay, so this was the three forms of, this was the question number 6A. These are the three levels of the market efficiency. Okay, everyone understand this. Now, if you see the question number two, if you see the question number two, six, question number B. Now, understand that I have told you the risk on a two asset portfolio. Okay, I told you the return on a two asset portfolio. Okay, so we have discussed about them. We have discussed about them. So what is the important thing you need to understand here is that what I can do, I can suppose if I take suppose stock A and there's a stock B, there's a stock A and there's a stock B, and then if I take 100% of money in stock A and 0% of money in stock B, if I take stock A and stock B, if I put 100% of money in stock A and 0% of money in stock B, so the expected return here the expected return here the expected return the expected return would be how much this would be 100% of money. If I put, the expected return would be 13%. Okay, then if I put 90% of money in stock A, 10% of money in stock B, then the expected return would be 13 into 0.9 plus 10% means 0.1, 0.1 into 18, 0.1 into 18. So this would be 10.04, 10.4, and this would be 1.8. So this would be 12.2. This would be 12.2. This would be 12.2. Then similarly, if I put 80% of money in stock A, 20% of money in stock B. So now what will happen? The return would be 13 into 0.8 plus 0.2 into 20. 0.2 into how much return on B, that is 18. So this would be 39 is 117. Sorry. 39 is 117. 13 nines are 117, 13 nines are 117, 11.7 and 1.8, 13.5%. 13.5%. Then this is 10.4 and this is 3.6. So this would be 14%. I hope you are understanding. So here what you need to understand that if you try to bring a two stock portfolio like this, and if you change the weight, the expected return will change, and similarly the risk will also change. The risk will also get changed. If I ask you the risk on a portfolio, if I ask you the risk on a portfolio, if I ask you the risk on a portfolio, so what will happen if you change the weight? The return will change. The risk will also change. A risk on a portfolio. If this is risk on a portfolio, you know the formula W1 square sigma 1 square plus W2 square sigma 2 square plus 2W1 W2 into R of 1 2, then standard deviation 1 into standard deviation 2. Like this, you can find the risk on the portfolio. So the W1 square is 100%, 1 square into variance. So into variance of 1. So the standard deviation of 1 is 5%. So standard deviation of A is 25%, means 0.25. Standard deviation is 0.25. So the variance of this would be 25 square 625. So 625 means 0.0625. 0.0625. Then this would be 0, because the weight of second is 0. You're putting 100% money in A, and this would be 0. So the standard deviation of the portfolio would be 25%. So the standard deviation of the portfolio is 25%. So gradually, as you change the weight, if you understand, gradually if you change the weight, the expected return will also change. The risk on the portfolio will also change. I hope you are understanding this. Okay, so here, what do you mean by minimum risk portfolio? What do you mean by a minimum risk portfolio? Minimum risk portfolio basically means at what weight of how much money can I put in stock A. Minimum risk portfolio, whenever I say minimum risk portfolio, whenever I'm asking you what is the minimum risk portfolio, minimum risk portfolio means how much percentage of money you put in one, how much percentage of money you can put in one, okay, and how much put your money you put in two, how much percentage of money can you put in one, how much percentage of money you can put in two, so that the total risk on the portfolio would be minimum, so that the total risk on the portfolio, so that the total risk on the portfolio is minimum. That is called minimum variance or minimum risk portfolio, or many people say this is the minimum variance portfolio. So minimum risk portfolio or minimum variance portfolio, the formula for that, the formula for that is that what weight can you take, what weight, because you have stock A, stock B. So how much percentage of money you can put in stock A, how much percentage of money you can put in stock B, provided that the total risk on the portfolio should be minimum. So that application we need to do, and if, and then on the basis of this application we can find the minimum risk on the portfolio. Otherwise you have to do it by trial and error method. Okay, so here if I show you with an Excel, with an MS Excel, I'll show you with an MS Excel sheet. Okay, so you know that stock A, stock A, and suppose stock B, your stock A, your stock B, suppose expected return and standard deviation. the expected return here is 13 and 18, 13 and 18, 13 and 18. Then standard deviation is 23 and 28. Standard deviation is 23 and 28. So what you can do, you can find the variance. So variance would be, this variance is the square of standard deviation. So this is the variance you got. Okay, now what I want the minimum risk portfolio. I want the minimum risk portfolio. I want the minimum risk. I want the minimum risk portfolio. Minimum risk portfolio. You want to get minimum risk portfolio. So you want the portfolio risk to be minimum. So I can say weight. So 90% of money is 100% of money is stock A. Weight basically means 1. So percentage would be 100%. And the weight of this is weight on stock A, means how much money I put in stock A. Then weight of stock 2. While the return on a portfolio, if I ask you the return on a portfolio, while when we talk about the return or return on a portfolio, then risk on a portfolio. So the weight, suppose 100% of money I put in A, 100% money I put in A, and 0% of money in B. So the return on the portfolio, so the return on A is 13% into 1. This is the return on portfolio plus 0% into 18%. So you get 13% here. This is the return on portfolio. So basically, whenever I talk about a return on a portfolio, whenever I'm talking about a return on a portfolio, so the return on a portfolio, the formula for that is summation of WI into RI. That is the return on a portfolio. Summation of WI into the RI, weight of each stock into the individual risk on each stock. That is the return on portfolio. This is a formula on total return on a portfolio. So if I imagine, if I put 90% of money here and 10% of money here, so the return on a portfolio would be 90 into 90 weight on a portfolio. So this is the sum of return on a portfolio into weight of each stock in the portfolio plus return on a portfolio. Already I've done the sum. So then return on this portfolio into the weight on second's portfolio. So you get 0.15. So if I copy this formula, And here if I put 80% here and 20% here, this would be the case. So what you can do, you can just do this minus 0.1. So let me copy. And then we put 0.2 plus 0.1. Okay, so here I can put 0. Here I can put 100%. Copy the formula everywhere. So return on the portfolio into weight. So this is this into this plus this into this. So what you can do, you can fix this cell. So now you can see the return on your portfolio. You got the return on the portfolio that manually you can do that work. So the return on your portfolio, the return on your portfolio is the summation of weight of each stock into the return on individual stock. Well, when I say the risk on a portfolio, so what I need to do is in the risk of the portfolio, I need to find W1 square, W1 square, W1 square into sigma 1 square, sigma 1 square, this is sigma 1 square, W1 square into sigma 1 square. So W1 square into sigma 1 square plus W2 square plus W2 square into sigma 2 square into sigma 2 square W1 square into sigma 1 square plus W2 square to sigma 2 square plus 2 W1 W2 plus 2 W1 into W2 into covariance between 1 and 2 into standard deviation of 1 into standard deviation of 2 into coefficient of correlation between 1 and 2 into coefficient of correlation to 1 and 2 is given in the problem, that is 0.5. Coefficient of correlation, coefficient of correlation is 0.5, 0.5, coefficient of correlation is 0.5. Okay, so before C4, you can fix this cell. So you can see this. You can see the minimum risk. Where is the minimum risk? 0.0. So I use this formula. I use this formula by which I found the risk on the portfolio. So the risk on the portfolio, formula for risk on a portfolio is the formula for the risk on a portfolio. The formula for that is risk on a portfolio formula is W1 square into sigma 1 square plus W2 square into sigma 2 square plus 2W1 W2 into covariance of 1 and 2. So if you're trying to create a two stock portfolio, the return on the two stock portfolio you can get by this formula. The risk on the two stock portfolio you can get by this formula. So the purpose here is to find the risk and return portfolio. What do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? What do you mean by minimum variance portfolio? What is a minimum variance portfolio or minimum risk portfolio? The meaning of minimum risk portfolio or minimum variance portfolio is that what weight of W1 and W2, at what weight of W1 and W2 you can consider, so that the total risk of the portfolio become minimum. The total, I hope you understand that the purpose here is to make the risk on the portfolio minimum, because as an investor you always want the risk to be minimum. So the problem here is that whenever you bring more than one stocks into picture, automatically the covariance between the two stocks start working, and because of the covariance, the risk on the two stock will either increase or either increase or either decrease. So that's why whenever we create portfolio, we try to bring those stocks in the portfolio which should be negatively correlated. So at what weight of W1 and W2 you get the minimum risk. So the formula for this is that the minimum risk portfolio, the formula for that, at what weight of W1 and W2 you get the minimum. So the formula for that is W1 is equal to sigma 2 square minus covariance between 1 and 2 divide by sigma 1 square plus sigma 2 square minus 2 times of covariance between 1 and 2. So this is the formula what you can follow to find the minimum risk portfolio. So to find the minimum risk portfolio, this is the formula can you find. Once you find the W1, W2 would be 1 minus W1. So this is the formula what you follow to find the minimum risk portfolio. So here the purpose, either you can find the minimum risk portfolio either by doing like this step by step. You do this calculation. If either you do step by step, you do manual calculation. This calculation is very lengthy. That's why we can't do now. If we start doing it, then we'll consume lot of time. So the purpose is to tell you that whenever you have to find the minimum risk portfolio, then what formula you need to use to find the minimum risk portfolio. So you can see them. So you can see their weights and all. So W1 is equal to sigma 1, then a sigma 1 square, then W2 square into sigma 2 square plus 2W1 W2 plus 2W1 W2 into covariance between 1 and 2. So those will not be included in this calculation. Whenever we talk about the minimum risk portfolio, the purpose is that whenever we talk about minimum risk portfolio, if you talk about the minimum risk portfolio, the objective here is to define them, and the objective is to define them. So how we can define them, that is what we are working on. Either manually you can do this, or you simply follow this formula to do that. So minimum risk portfolio, at what weight of W1 and W2 you get the minimum risk on the portfolio. That is that question. So here if you see this question, if I uh, take this question, stock A and stock B. So you have expected return stock is stock A and you have stock B. Now return, expected return. So that is given to you 13% and 18%, 13% and 18%. Then standard deviation is given. Standard deviation is 25%. Standard deviation is 25%, 28%. 25% is 0.25. 28% is 0.28. So the variance would be 25 square is 625 and 28 square is 784. This is their variance, okay, and their coefficient of correlation is given to you, that is 0.5. Coefficient of correlation is given to you, that is 0.5. So the coefficient of correlation is given to you, that is 0.5. So what I can do, I can find their covariance between 1 and 2, that is coefficient of correlation between 1 and 2 into standard deviation of 1 into standard deviation of 2. So the covariance between 1 and 2, R is 0.5. Standard deviation of 1 is 25, 28. 25 and 28. You multiply them, you will get the covariance 0.14 into 0.25. The covariance between 1 and 2. So 0.14, 0.15 means 1 by, I can write 1 by 4. This is 0.03, 0.02, 0.035. That is the covariance between 1 and 2. Okay, this is the covariance between 1 and 2, 0.035. This is the 0.035. So the covariance is this into this into 0.5, 0.0322. So if you take the exact value, you'll get 0.0322 by 2.035. So if you want exact value, you can take 0.032. So you can take 0.032. You got the covariance between 1 and 2. Now this is the formula, guys. Remember this. This is very important. Minimum variance. This is the formula. Okay, this is the formula. So W1. What is the minimum W1? That formula is, what is the formula? W sigma 2 square minus covariance between 1 and 2 divided by sigma 1 square plus sigma 2 square minus 2 times of covariance of 1 and 2. So sigma 2 square means this 0.0784, 0.0784 sigma 2 square minus covariance between 1 and 2. Covariance between 1 and 2, you got the value 0.0322. 0.0322 divide by variance of 1. Variance of 1 is 0.0625 plus variance of 2 is 0.0784 minus covariance of 1 and 2, 0.0322. So you solve this. So with this you get the W of 1. So you can solve this. You will get W of 1. Weight of 1. So this is 0.0784 minus 0.03 minus 0.0784 minus 0.0322. So you'll get 0.0462 divide by, if you do this calculation, so this is 0.0625 plus 0.0784 is this is 0.1409, 0.1409 minus, how much you'll get this? This is 0.06, 3 to the 644. So how much you'll get? This is minus 0.0644. You'll get 0.0765. This you'll get is 0.0765. This is 0.0462. This is 0.0462. So this is 0.0462 divided by 0.0765. 0.0765, 0.0462 divided by 0.0765. So you'll get 0.6039. You'll get 0.6039. So you'll get 0.6039. So you'll get 0.6039. So the weight on the stock would be 1 minus 0.6039. If you take this, so this, if you take this, you get 0.3960. So you'll get 0.3960. So you get the weight of 1 and 2. So this is your answer. So this is your answer. So if you take your stock, you take the weight as weight of one as 0.6039 and another stock weight as 0.3960, then you will get the minimum risk on the portfolio. Then you will get the minimum risk on the portfolio. So this is the thing what you need to understand. So weight of one, if you take 0.6, weight of two, you will get zero point 0.4. Then you will get the minimum risk on the portfolio. So once you get this value as a minimum risk on the portfolio, this is the minimum risk on the portfolio what you will get. Okay, so this so if you take these as a weight, your total risk on the portfolio would be minimum. So if you want, you can find this value. What would be the value if you want? What would be the value if you want? What is the minimum risk on the portfolio? For that, you can use the formula W1 square into sigma 1 square plus W2 square into sigma 2 square plus 2W1 W2 into covariance between 1 and 2. Want, you can find that minimum risk also. So I can take this as 0.6 square into standard deviation of 1. Standard deviation of 1 is standard is 0.0625, 0.0625 plus standard, this is, I can take this as 0.4 into 0.0784 plus 2.6 into 0.4 into covariance between 1 and 2. So the covariance between 1 and 2, so the covariance between 1 and 2 is 0.0322. 0.0322. This is 0.0322. 0.0322. If you want, you can find this value. So how much you will get this value? 0.6 square is 0.36. So you can write this as 0.36 into 0.36 into 0.0625. This is 0.0225 plus this is 0.16 into 0.0784. This is 0.12544 plus 2 into 0.6 into 0.4 into 0.0322. So you will get 0.015456. Now you can find the total variance on the portfolio. This plus 0.012544 plus 0.0225. This is 0.0505. So the standard deviation of portfolio is 0.0505. What is the standard deviation of portfolio? So the standard deviation of portfolio is 0.0505. that is basically 0.224. This is the minimum risk what you get on a portfolio. Okay, so this is not required. This is not required. This is not required. This I did just for your knowledge. Okay, what is this? This is required for you. This is required for you. This is the formula for the minimum risk portfolio. This is the formula for the minimum risk portfolio. Whenever you see a problem on minimum risk portfolio, this is the formula you need to use. Again, I'm telling you guys, like when you see this as a question, when you see a two stock portfolio, if you see this as a question, I'm asking you two stock portfolio. If I'm asking you what is a minimum variance portfolio, so the minimum variance portfolio basically means that at what weight of stock A and stock B should I consider so that my minimum risk on the portfolio would be minimum. Okay, so that my risk on my portfolio would be minimum. So that is what I'm looking for, because I know that you can do it through trial error method, that whenever you change the weight of stock A and stock B, whenever you're changing the weight of stock A and stock B, automatically the risk on the portfolio will change. The purpose of using this formula is to find out at minimum weight that the total risk on the portfolio is minimum. That is what we are doing here. And so this is the formula for the minimum risk portfolio, that first you will find the weight of W1. Once you find W1, W2 would be 1 minus W1. Okay, everyone. Anyone have doubt? Anyone have any doubt? Remember this formula for the minimum variance portfolio. So this came for 6 marks for you in exam. You can see the question number 6 part B. This came for 6 marks in the exam. Anyone, any doubt? Anyone, any doubt? Anyone, any doubt? Okay. Attendance: Akash, Bharat, Bhavna, Chaitanya, Darshan, Divya, Gitanjali, Darshan, Harish, Karthik, Darshan, Harish, Karthik, Darshan, Harish, Karthik, Kavna, Harish, Darshan, Harish, Karthik, Kavna, Kirti, Kiran, Kiran, Mohan, Nagaveni, Kiran, Mohan, Nagaveni, Pawan, Prajwal, Prakriti, Prajwal, Priyanka, Rakesh, Ranjita, Ravi Teja, Rakesh, Ranjita, Ravi Teja, Rohan, Sachin, Sanjay, Suraj, Vidya, Yogeshwari, Virendra, Shalini, Shakib, Sachin, Rohan, Ravi Teja, Ranjita, Pawan, Pawan, anyone else? Kirti, Kiran, Mohan, Nagaveni, Kartik, Kavna, Harish Kumar, Bharat, Darshan, Harish, Kartik, Kavna, Kirti, Kiran, Mohan, anyone present? 10 are present today. Okay, anyone name did I miss? Okay, guys, anyone have any doubt? Anyone have any doubt? Any question you want to ask? Okay, guys, then we end the today class. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, Yogeshwari, I all the classes what I'm taking, I'm putting that video in the YouTube channel. So you can take that video from there, or you message me. I'll give you this video. Yeah, all the classes videos I'm uploading in my YouTube channel. You can either take it from there or you message me. I'll forward you that. Anyone have any question? Okay, everyone. Then we'll end the class. Thank you, everyone.